Kia ora, hello, and welcome to Anyway, the podcast where I unpack chaos of reality TV. I am your host, Natalie McMurray, coming to you from Aotearoa, New Zealand. There will be no dilly-dallying here. Let's discuss the season finale of Southern Hospitality. We open with Joe Bradley trying to fight off a ladybug like it's physically attacking him. He's reminding me of all the times that I've walked face first into a spider web and probably looks like an absolute crazy person to anyone who could see me flailing my arms around in front of me to get it off. We arrive at Lake's art show. Michael says that he's had a conversation with Leva about his job email. And I guess it's not a demotion. He says that they've created a new position for him so he can focus on modeling as well as working at Republic. So that was extremely anticlimactic. The guys are all getting their tits out for the girls so they can do some live drawing. Joe Bradley is feeling self-conscious. He doesn't want to take his shirt off. He's all, my body, my choice. Just like a man to appropriate a saying that holds a lot of significance to women and use it as a fucking joke. Blake gets a call from her dad, and unsurprisingly, he's not showing up. She tells him that her mum isn't coming either because she's at a work dinner. Jeez. Hard to get familial support around these parts. Joe Bradley is stirring shit and telling everyone that Michols is no longer AGM. They all seem to concur that it's a demotion, which Michols gets very defensive about. He wants everyone to talk about the art and not him. Turns out Lake's mum did show up for her. Thank goodness for that. I don't know if I can handle any more parental trauma on this show. Joe meets with Leva to discuss his business plan. He asks how she is. She's tired, probably because she has 2 kids, a husband, and 500 businesses to take care of. Joe says he's tired too. His cushy job, gorgeous girlfriend, and overall lack of responsibility really takes it out of him. They start talking, and he's apparently pitching his ideas. He loves hospitality. He loves live music. He loves love. He loves weddings. Apparently, he wants to throw weddings or wedding after parties. I'm not 100% sure what the idea is here. Leva is dubious to say the least. She says Joe knows nothing of weddings, and she's going to need more. She's going to need market research, budgets, return on investment, something more. She's needing to give Joe a reality check. She says, if you have investors, they're just your new boss. I'm not sure Joe Bradley is getting it. Unsurprisingly. We then see Maddi and Joe meeting out to play pickleball. Joe basically tells Maddi that Leva doesn't want to go into business with him, which isn't quite what transpired. Maddi starts to cry and she says it's frustrating to see him work hard and not get anywhere. I'm kind of confused about this whole situation. If Joe thinks this is a good idea and actually feels like he can pull it off, Leva isn't the be-all and end-all of it happening. It's actually kind of crazy that Joe Bradley just expects her to help him out. Delusion! We see everyone getting ready for the Republic Staff Appreciation Mardi Gras party. TJ is telling Mia and Molly about the date that he went on with Joe's friend. He says that things went well and he stayed over. He wants them to know he has big hands. Take from that what you will. Joe Bradley and said friend, Matt, arrive. Things get awkward when Molly starts to talk shit about Michols. They then discuss girls' night with cucumbers and Grace Lilly's infamous bumming joke. And with that, there's a big bing bong at the door. And I guess just with the mention of her name, Grace Lilly appears. Joe is bamboozled. The people are all arriving at the Mardi Gras party. Michols doesn't seem to be a big fan of TJ's date. Or the fact that TJ's on a date, perhaps. Joe Bradley is yet again stirring shit and telling Michols that Molly is upset with him because, according to Emmy, he got Molly fired. We see Brad feeding Julia shrimp, and I just want to say that watching someone feed another person makes me uncomfortable. Maybe it's because whenever someone has done it to me, I've either felt infantilized or like food was going to end up all over me. Anyway, Michols pulls Molly for a chat. He says, it's crazy that everyone thinks I got you fired. Molly says, that's what Emmy said to me. Then Michols brings Emmy into the chat. Emmy tells her side of things, and Molly is all, no, that's not what you said. You're lying. My God, I really wish I cared about the situation. Emmy says, I never said he was involved. And Michael wants to know why he would be. Molly says to us she didn't expect Emmy to have her back. But the conversation she had with Emmy was on camera. She thinks Emmy is an idiot. Right along there with a bunch of other people. Molly starts getting heated and everyone starts spectating and getting involved. Michols is now getting heated, and he says to Molly, if it were up to me, you wouldn't have worked at Republic in the first place, because you're a shitty employee. Michols is then yelling, you are deplorable. Molly's is all, I'm a great employee. And then Michael starts yelling, your friendship cost me nothing. Which is the final straw for Leva. She's all, whoa, whoa, whoa. Everyone is telling Michaels to chill and relax, but he doesn't care apparently. He screams, this is a conversation between Molly and I. It's not when you start to yell so loud that the whole room can hear you. Leva comes over and Michael storms off. Everyone wants to know what the hell is happening. Leva confirms that, yes, Michaels did know about Molly's firing before it happened. She says, no shit he did. He's the AGM. Joe Bradley, who started this whole thing, and Lake follow Michaels out. They go to calm him down. Michael says something about being demoted, and Joe says, no, you weren't demoted. It was a promotion. Come back to the party. Which is absolutely laughable. Joe, you were the one talking shit to everyone about him getting demoted in the first place. Good lord. Michaels comes back and immediately everyone is in his face again, asking, who's lying? Who's lying? I guess it's Michaels because he's continually saying he didn't know, even though Leva just said he did. Molly gets mad at someone calling a beignet a donut. I was under the impression that a beignet is a donut. Upon further investigation, it would appear that yes, they are donuts, but there are small differences. None of which are all that interesting. But neither is the argument that is taking place. So I'm kind of at a loss. Anyway, Grace Lilly wants to talk to Joe Bradley. Joe tells her that he doesn't hate her, but the way that she treated Maddi and himself is unacceptable. Grace says she knows. She says it's hard for her to ask for help. He wants her to know that they love her and they support her. They hug it out. Leva comes out to give a speech, and her tits look like they're about to fall sideways out of her dress. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, she brought the new CEO with her, whose name I didn't quite get. But he reminds me so much of the mayor from Widow's Bay. He looks just like him. Great show, by the way, if you haven't seen it. I honestly can't remember the last time I saw a show with both great horror and great comedy at the same time. Leva and the new CEO talk about the future of Republic. And they talk about a new establishment, which is apparently going to have a rooftop bar and live music. Joe Bradley is all, WTF, they stole my idea. Joe, rooftop bars and live music have been around for a while. Wake up! Joe and Maddi talk to Leva about the situation, and basically Leva says, you were supposed to be a part of the rooftop bar, but you disappeared. Cut to TJ saying that Maddi has been talking shit about Joe Bradley to Molly. These people are so fucking messy. Apparently Maddi told her that she doesn't want to marry Joe, which I feel like Maddi has been pretty honest about her hesitation to get married. Anyway, TJ says once the show airs, it's going to be a big problem. I feel like it's a big problem if it's being portrayed the wrong way. Also, it hasn't even been a part of the show until right now when you've brought it up. We go back to Joe Bradley talking to Leva. Leva says, you were basically the golden child, and then you started slacking off. She says he was getting a salary for working 3 days a week, and that he's taking the absolute piss. I would say yeah. Joe says he doesn't regret taking that time off and being there for Maddi because he wants to marry Maddi and have children with her. That's his family. Everyone else is doing a cheers at the bar. TJ says, where's Joe and Maddi? Emmy replies, they're in a meeting with Leva and it's heated. This bitch knows everything. Leva says to Joe, I don't need you. And everyone else at the bar does a cheers to the summer. This program is so silly. You see a preview of the reunion, and somehow the demon blonde worm with a mustache has weaseled his way onto this show too. I guess Mia fucked him and then told Sally from Southern Charm that his dick was good. Bath. That's it for this week. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for listening. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.